hopefully you can hear me. But this is called a Maelstrom oxidizer, and it's actually different little segmented cells, and each cell has a oxidizer slash aeration system in it. So what it's doing is super saturating the water that's coming through it with oxygen, and that helps the precipitation in the settling pond that's ahead of us. If you look at that settling pond, you can see that there's three baffles, and the water is being forced up and down over the baffles to keep it in this pond to allow settling of that iron precipitation. I believe it stays in there about 20 hours before it actually exits at the outlet.
Do you have an idea of what percentage of the iron is removed?
I don't right at this point. Originally, it was taking about 77% of the iron out of the water. We weren't happy with that. We were thinking because, well, part of the issue is the system, when it was designed to handle about 3,500 gallons per minute, up to about 7,000. In the past 4 years, I'd say, we have had very much higher flows coming through. So we can no longer treat that water level. So a lot of times we just shut this off because we're paying for the electricity for this as well. It doesn't, run on nothing. So anyway, we've added in boulders, the channel that you just looked at. We've added in boulders to also help with the aeration, raise the level of the outlet, and head it down to the pond. So with those things in place, I don't know the current iron removal rate, thank you. But again, we started at about 77%, so we wanted to just see if we can improve that. And we're still applying for grants to look at new ways to even increase those levels higher.
Do you have to remove the iron oxide sediment that's precipitating from the ponds periodically?
It is something we're going to have to do. We have another organization called FPAMR come in, and they have what's called a sludge judge, and they actually stick it down and they get a sample of how much iron sludge is built up at the bottom. I think they thought we probably have about 10 years left that we can get away with before we actually have to drain the whole pond and remove all that sludge. But then there's other uses actually for that sludge. Sometimes you can use it in filling in voids, and you can also use it for pigment in making paints and other stains, that kind of stuff.
Approximately how much did the system cost to install?
The initial installation cost was about $1 million. That was done in partnership with the EPA as well as the Pennsylvania Association of Conservation Districts. And the Office of Surface Mining. That's where the main funding came from. Other funding to support this has come through the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development, as well as some smaller grants from things like Trout Unlimited and ARIPA, which deals with cogeneration plants with gold mines.
It's a real diverse partnership to build
Absolutely.
this treatment system.
And then even this path we're walking on, that was part of an education grant we got with the Pennsylvania Department of Department of Environmental Protection, through their education division, and some other grants as well. Luzerne County was another funder for that.
Approximately how much electricity do you have to pay for to run this every month?
Again, it depends on how often we're running, and that depends on the borehole output. That's something else we want to study, figure out where all the water is actually coming from. And this gets back into our larger plan. Sorry if I'm on a tangent.
No.
But we're actually there's one stream that had gone underground through a fissure in the earth. We are creating about 5,000 feet of streamway to bring that whole stream back above ground so the water is not going into the mine pools. So, we're hoping that once we do that tributary to the Nanticoke Creek will no longer have that flow into the mine pools, which would be coming out into the system. So we're hoping that'll improve water quality too. So again, it's that whole idea of planning, big holistic planning. It